I'm going to be ranking every single team owner in the NFL based on who has the most aura. There will be 4 different categories, including minimal, medium, high, and maximum aura. So a maximum aura owner is a person who you'd see in real life and immediately feel a strong positive presence, while a low aura owner is someone you would walk by and be unfazed by, or you'd maybe even dislike them for whatever reason. Now, there are a decent number of owners who stay low-key and away from their team, and that does impact these rankings. Before we get into it, I do want to note that the Packers are the only team not owned by an individual owner or private ownership group. They operate as a publicly owned, non-profit corporation, so they will not be included in these rankings. So, the lowest aura owner, who could it be? Mr. Tepper. Yeah, definitely him. Tepper has a temper, from verbal altercations in local restaurants to pouring drinks on fans at away games. The guy is just a bit of a loose cannon. He's made himself the center of the decision process, and that in itself was a poor decision. Moving on, Jimmy Haslam from the Browns. Approving the Deshaun Watson signing, considering just general morals, was a big-time low-aura move. Furthermore, he guided the Browns to a 0-16 season, and he drafted Johnny Manziel because a homeless guy told him to. Whether that's the truth or the best excuse he could think of, it's highly questionable. Next, Michael Bidwill. He has led the Cardinals to mediocre results during his time at the helm, and while not being overly involved or showing face often, he has still been publicly accused of harassment and discrimination in the workplace by a prior higher-ranking team official. He also shut down an employee survey after initial results came back with a lot of negative comments, which is pretty low aura behavior. Shad Khan, now that is a rich man's mustache. Even with all the glitz and glam his stash brings, it doesn't hide the fact that his time as Jags owner has been rough. He's tried his best to distract everyone from Jacksonville's failures, from napping in the press box, to invading a wrestling ring during the season, to even going to a Pilates class mid-game and recording himself. Those tricks aren't going to work on a guy like me. Looking past the mustache, he's unfortunately a low aura owner. John Mara, he has struggled to get high aura guys in his own team. He's got Daniel Jones at QB. He's had Joe Judge, Pat Shurmur, now Brian Daboll at head coach, and he also had Dave Gettleman as a past GM. Furthermore, his current GM laughed in his face when Mara mentioned that he wouldn't be able to sleep if Saquon signed with Philly, which he ended up doing. He's the head of the Giants, and the whole organization has low aura at the moment. Dean Spanos moved the Chargers to LA, even with all the San Diego fans rioting in the streets. He didn't care, because, he does what he wants. Billionaire. Solid aura, right? Nope. He couldn't take the heat and quickly turned victim. Now he's just the owner of the B team in Los Angeles. He's lucky they have fire jerseys, though, because if they didn't, they would be as low as the Clippers in their aura level. Stephen Ross, not related to Rick Ross, but he does have beef with Rick Ross. The real king of Miami publicly denounced Stephen to TMZ. Furthermore, the Dolphins got caught cheating after Ross tampered with Tom Brady. And if you can't get away with tampering, then I don't think you're a good fit as an owner in the NFL. Stephen's got some work to do to get his aura points up. Next, we got to look at Josh Harris from the Commanders. He bought the team in July of last year, so he hasn't had a chance to make a big impact yet. However, he did suffer a fatal aura loss during this interaction with Joe Buck. This random handshake combined with the immediate double hip grab after, it's not going to be an easy one to overcome. Rob Walton of the Broncos, he purchased the Denver team in the summer of 22. Besides bringing in Sean Payton, there's not much to report on his tenure, though I must say him not knowing how to pronounce Goodell's last name during his introductory press conference was a strong start. Woody Johnson, besides meeting Sexy Red at the season opener this year, there hasn't been much to celebrate recently in Jets football for Woody. They've been one of the worst teams over the past decade, and Johnson has been unfazed. He even left for London, England at one point during his tenure, and left his younger brother in charge of the Jets, which is pretty irresponsible. Janice McNair, at 87 years old, she's given up most of the day-to-day duties of being an owner and rarely makes any kind of appearance. Even with the circumstances, she still has fought to maintain her ownership, as she faced a legal guardianship case against her kids for custody of the team, which ended up being dropped. Jody Allen, she kind of looks like she could be Mark Davis's sister, but she has a different approach to being an owner compared to Mark. She basically has the organization on autopilot, which isn't a bad thing as the team has been very successful, but it doesn't lead to a lot of aura for Jody. Terry Pagula, the Bills have been on an uphill climb over the past half-decade, and Terry is technically the head of Bills Mafia. However, the guy is entering his mid-70s and has been absent from the team as of recently. In the past year, he's sold 25% of his Bills ownership and has transferred over smaller fractions to some of his family members. Mike Brown of the Bengals, he's been the owner since 1995, and there haven't been many wins in Cincinnati during that time. Though I must say he's always been loyal to his players and coaches, and has been generally liked, which is not common for an owner. At 89 years old, he seems to be stepping back from the team. Joel Glazer, he convinced Tom Brady to sign for his squad. Pretty cool. On top of that, soccer fans hate him. The issue with Joel is that he does too many interviews and he can't stop smiling in them. He's the only person on this list who I had too much footage of. He's got to take a page out of the NFL owner textbook and do one interview per allegation against. On to medium aura, Art Rooney II. Art seems to be a pretty chill dude, even though he looks like a personal injury lawyer for the Sopranos. The Steelers have had 2 different GMs and 2 different head coaches since 2000, and neither of the former guys got fired, so clearly Art and his family are either very loyal or don't like watching the team play. And I'm leaning to the latter, since even picking Kenny Pickett in the first round keeps you employed as a GM in Pittsburgh. Jim Irsay, this guy brings energy. His passion is contagious, whether it's his dancing in the locker room or his speeches. But with a big character like Irsay, it's a double-edged sword. You're going to get some funny moments and then some questionable ones, comments that come off unhinged, and also bizarre decisions. It's a mixed bag with him, and for that reason, he's got medium aura. Amy Adams Strunk, a nice lady, and she's liked by many within the organization and state. She kind of looks like a high school English teacher, but at the same time, she also looks like she makes good chocolate chip cookies, and that definitely gives you some aura. Denise York, the 49ers organization has been passed to the York family multiple times. Denise is the official owner at the moment, but she's decided to be hands-off and has appointed her son, Jed, as the CEO, and she allows him to control team operations. Imagine your mom gifting you an NFL team. Pretty cool. Arthur Blank, an involved owner who doesn't do too much. You'll often see him on the field looking to celebrate with his players, and he does seem to have a true passion for the team. On top of that, he's well liked by most in the league, but his public pursuit of Deshaun Watson and him doubling down on it earlier this year is hard to move past. Jeffrey Lurie, he helped finally bring a Super Bowl to Philadelphia. He doesn't over-involve himself with the team, and he lets his coaches do their job, but when it comes time to party, this guy gets active. Sometimes he goes too hard, but nonetheless, who doesn't love a fun owner? On to high aura, and who better to start with than Mark Davis. He's got an iconic look, the bowl cut with the little hair sprout in the back, a cut that very few would have by choice, but still, you'll never see him wearing a hat, a toque, or anything to hide his cut. He's proud of it, and that's aura. I get it, not everyone's going to agree. Some people are going to say it doesn't look good. Some are going to say he looks like a microwaved Gruden, but the guy gets results. Besides his team being bad for decades on decades, he's got high aura. Jerry Jones, the face of the Dallas Cowboys, being just the owner is not enough for him, so he also must be the GM. Unfortunately, some of his scouting tactics recently leaked. Got to be aware of who you're talking to next time, Jerry, and you never know what to expect from him. You give him the mic, he'll say anything. You put him on the field, he'll grab a baby and sign it, and before you know it, he'll find another baby. But due to his team constantly getting clowned and him always storming out of the press box, I can't put him into the maximum aura tier. Sheila Ford Hamp, she took over as the owner of the Lions in 2020, and one of her first major moves was bringing in Dan Campbell, a max aura dude. Coming out of college, Sheila tried to get a job in the NFL offices, but was rejected because she was a woman. So, you know what Sheila did? She cut her hair and tried to pass off as one of the guys. In all seriousness though, she inherited the Lions and completely revolutionized the team and culture. Ziggy Wilf of the Vikings, the Caterpillar stash and the Wario resemblance immediately gives him an aura boost. On top of that, the guy's not afraid to get in there and get dirty. He'll dance in the locker room with his guys after a big win. He also helped in building possibly the nicest stadium in the league. I mean, look at those glass panels. Stan Kroenke off the bat, the stash. The guy looks like he means business, and he's been doing great in recent years. The Rams, Nuggets, and Avalanche have all won world titles under his ownership. Not to mention, he moved the Rams to LA and put them in a crazy stadium. It's difficult to question his aura at this point. Hallis McCaskey, 101 years old. She inherited the Bears in 1983. Imagine being over 100 years old and an owner of an NFL team for over 40 years and still never seeing your team have a good quarterback. Nonetheless, though, she's kind and soft-spoken and also pretty inspiring. Gail Benson, she's always dripped out and she's pulling off these fits at 70 years of age. For the Saints, she's invested heavily into the team and the community. She's vowed to donate all funds from the future sale of the Saints upon her passing to the city of New Orleans. She's not super involved, but when she shows face, you can feel the aura. Clark Hunt, this dude oozes aura. He wins 3 Super Bowls in 5 years, and yet he still refuses to upgrade the team facilities. Year after year, players publicly state that the Chiefs have some of the worst food, trainers, and overall facilities in the league. If your Super Bowl winning squad publicly stated these things, would you invest some of your money into the team? Well, that's what separates you and Clark. Mr. Hunt heard the comments and decided that's the perfect time to create a multi-million-dollar suite in the stadium for himself. Owning the team can tire you out, so you must make sure you're comfortable. Also, why not install 6 bedrooms just in case you have some friends over? Now that is aura. Finally, maximum aura, starting with Steve Bisciotti. He's as clean as NFL owners come. He's well respected, very likable, and has a strong character. The Ravens have a great foundation, and he's a big part of that. You do some research on him, and you just see a bunch of positive stuff, from work in the community to people praising him after meeting him in person. He looks the part of a great owner, and he's also been getting the job done for over 2 decades now. Robert Kraft, the winningest owner in NFL history with 6 Super Bowls and also a good friend of Tom Brady's. The fact that he hired the greatest player and greatest coach ever is wildly impressive. On top of that, he helped free Meek Mill from jail. Even though he's hands-off with operations, his winning pedigree and cultural relevance gives him maximum aura. So those are my rankings. Let me know what you guys think in the comments section. Thanks for watching, and I'm out.